And it was funny when I got the audition for SVU, my manager called me and he goes, listen, I got a script for you. I don't think you're going to like it. It's very dark. And it was so, I understood why he said that because I was leaning toward this dramedy. I was leaning toward comedy. And then I read SVU. It was called Sex Crimes at the time. And I was like, sold, done. I knew it was my part. I knew it. I mean, I knew it was my part. I wanted it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was my part.
Right.
I guess I did though.
Yeah.
But it was just so, I loved it. It was so right. I'd never loved anything more. And that's when I started auditioning for it.
Wow. Without further ado, please welcome the incredible Mariska Hargitay.
Thank you, Jessica. Hi. Thank you. Oh, sit down now.
I can't tell you guys, by the way, when Mariska found out that the entire audience is actors of all age groups and everything, you were so excited. And I loved that because this is for you. And these are my favorite conversations to host, kind of like, this is your life. Yeah. So thank you for being here.
You're welcome. And that is true because I'm doing a couple panels this week and I was so excited to be asked by SAG and to talk to my fellow actors because that's what excites me and inspires me the most. So,
okay, so I think we're going to be here till like midnight because all the class like.
I know. I said, are they allowed to ask questions from the audience? And they go, no. Okay.
All right. 551 episodes of SVU and counting.
Thank you.
25 seasons, 20 years of joyful heart, 20 years of marriage. You just told Variety that at 60 years old, you are just getting started. And I thought, if she's just getting started at 60 with all that, then I am slacking and I've got to get on it. So what did you mean by 60 and just getting started? Which I love to hear, but also what you have done is more than most of us will ever do in our lifetimes.
Turning 60 was just a very exciting time for me because, my 20s were so angsty, right? And I didn't really start working consistently until my 30s. And then, the 40s, you're working it. And the 50s were great. But for me, personally, this year feels like when the wisdom set in and a peace set in, and I was able to be more present with all of it. And one of the ways, and the actors will all understand this, is when I see that, I saw the sizzle, and when I see it, and I noticed, like when I started the show, my voice was so high, right? And then you see the scenes now, and I'm like, I'm just getting started. So that is one of the things where you feel like I've just finally sort of dropped into myself, and I feel very powerful in a way that it just lacks fear. And because for all of us, especially as actors, we are, people pleasing. It's what do they think? Do they like me? Did I do it right? Did I, should I, second guessing. And then it gets to the point, and this is the gift of acting every day. The gift of acting every day is I act for myself now because I know better and I trust myself. I think that's what it is. It's trust. Did I feel it? Did I believe it? It doesn't matter. Before it's like, are they happy? Did they like it? Do they like it? And it's like, they don't know. I know because I did it and I feel it. And do I believe myself? So that's a lot of the journey is the trust. And I wish, I want to say that to younger actors, is I wish I trusted myself more and I understood that the only way you're going to get hired is if you believe it. And I always tell the story which was such a great story. Do you know my ER story?
Which one?
Well, there's only one that's really great. I mean, I've got two, actually.
Okay.
But one time, I was reading for ER, you know the show, and I walked in, I was auditioning for it, and I walked into the room, and when I walked in, I immediately saw 6 blondes, like petite, soft, blonde hair, kind of gentle spirits. And then I walk in there, and I'm like, And so the second that I saw the other women, I went, oh, this is not my part. Like, this is not happening for me. And it took all the pressure off because I went, oh, they're never going to cast me. They're never going to cast me. They don't want this. And so I thought, oh, I'll just have fun with it. So I go in the room, and it was this character, Cynthia Hooper. I guess you know the end of the story. But I walk in the room, and I do my audition, and I'm just doing it for me because I know I'm not going to get it. So I said, just do it as an acting exercise. See how far you can go with the truth. And I leave the room, and I said to myself, well, I couldn't have done that any better. I did everything that I wanted to do. Sort of magic happened. I was fully present, blah, 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 and I left. So I get home, and I get the call, you did a great job. They're going another way. So I'm like, wow, okay. Well, it's not my fault because I did everything I wanted. I wouldn't have changed a thing in the audition. That's very rare. Well, it had been for me anyway. Extremely rare where you leave there instead of going, oh, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. So I leave there. I get another audition the next day, and it's for some stupid show, and I hated it. And but I had to go on it because I needed a job. So I go on this audition. I'm terrible at it. And then it was the same casting director, John Levy. And I said, John, what happened yesterday? And he goes, I don't know. You were fantastic. I go, right? And he said, he goes, yeah. And I said, let's go talk to John Wells.
You did not.
Yes, I did. And he goes, excuse me? And I said, yeah, let's go. He goes, all right. He goes, all right. And he just was laughing at the chutzpah of this girl. So I march in there, and I go, hi, I'm Mariska Hargitay. Is John Wells here? And the woman is like, do you have an appointment? And I said, I know. No, I don't. But he knows who I am. So out of the office.
Wait, was John Wells in the audition with
Yes.
you? He was. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I go into the, I just will go there, and John comes out. And I say, hey, John. He goes, hey, Mariska. He goes, great job yesterday. And so I said, and I don't know where I had the sort of audacity or courage, but I said, John, so I have a question. Did anybody do better than I did? And he goes, no. And I said, but I didn't get the part. He goes, Marish, I like to cast closer to type. And I said, oh, so you're telling me that I didn't get the part because you know me and know that I have a strong personality and I have dark hair and dark features, and it's lightened right now. And he said, and I said, but you're telling me I was the best one for the role. And he said, yeah. And by the time I got home, I got the part.
Okay.
And that was awesome. And it was life-changing.
So what, did you ever ask him what changed for him? Like,
I
did
was
they
right.
hire, had they hired someone else yet?
No, this was in 1997.
Right, I know that. But like, had they hired any, because they said they weren't going with you. They had
I don't know, and I don't care.
It was yours.
It was mine. It was mine, and I knew it. And if I hadn't done as well as I did, I wouldn't have said that. I wouldn't have the nerve. But I knew I could kill it.
Good for you.
It was just one of those things, and that's the thing that I want to tell artists is insist on your own vision because you know just as much as they know. And we can't give our power away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because they want you. They don't even know what they're looking for. Trust me, I'm a producer and a director. I wait till the person comes in and I go, oh, you're it. You know what I mean? So I learned that where the person comes in and they're it. Or you give them a note. You go, I feel them. Hold on, like just kick them off the safety ledge and see where they go. And then they do it and they bring it.
I love that so much.
It's a good one.
It's a great story.
It's a great story.
You better have 20 more of them for the next 75
Sweetheart, buckle your
75
seatbelts.
minutes. All right. I mean, this is your life. You should see the research that I did.
Oh.
Let's start with.
Oh gosh, I'm getting scared.
You said when I was younger, I had no interest in being in this business.
Yeah.
What changed?
Well, my mother was an actress. My mother was a, famous,
Legendary
iconic,
Jane Mansfield.
the legendary Jane Mansfield.
Yes.
And, she was a big personality. And I grew up in Los Angeles. I grew up here, and I had a very normal childhood. I did not grow up in Hollywood, per se. We weren't around actors. We just weren't around the business. It was very normal. My stepmother was a flight attendant. My dad was doing construction. And I was kind of a, athlete in school. I was on the swim team. I was on the cross country team. And then I went to an all-girls private high school, Marymount High School, there on Sunset. And one of my favorite nuns at my school said to me, Mariska, I think you should try out for the play. And she said, you're so extroverted, you're so funny. And, the translation is, you talk in class too much. So I think she was trying to channel my energy. But so I tried out for the play in my junior year. And it was a French farce called Salad Days. And then the following year, I auditioned for the main play, and I got the lead and got the bug, and love telling stories, and I love the power of the medium and an audience, and that connection was just...
But originally you wanted to be like a French diplomat, right?
I did. You did do your homework.
I did so much homework.
I'm very impressed. Yes, I did. My mother, as I said, my stepmother was a flight attendant, and so she would take me to London and Paris and everywhere. And so I traveled so much, and we lived in Italy in the summertime. So it was such a fun existence, and I loved languages. So I thought, I'm a good communicator, and I wanted to bring people together. And then I thought I could be a translator or a diplomat or somebody that helps two sides understand each other and get closer.
And look what you have done, which is almost the same thing, just in a little different profession.
Yeah.
I was watching the cutest clip last night of your mom and you and your brothers on the Merv Griffin show in 1966, which was technically your very first appearance as a 3-year-old. You also said your name was Maria. At least that's what it sounded like. But I think it was Henny Youngman who said, because you were just so precocious and sweet in this outfit, you guys got to go YouTube this because the outfit you wore was everything. But I think Henny Youngman said, get your own show, will ya? To you as a 3-year-old.
He said, get your own show,
Get your own show. And I'm thinking, little did he know, you really got your own show. I mean, the longest running primetime character in a drama series, you got your own show and then some.
No.
Have you seen that clip
I have seen
recently?
it. I have seen it, and it was, I have 3 children now, and I feel like they came out who they are. And when I saw that clip, I went, and so did I. You know what I mean? I was very much myself and the same person. I am the same person as that I was on that show.
It's so precious. You've got to see this.
It's so funny.
You went to UCLA.
I did.
But you didn't graduate.
I did not.
Do you regret that?
I did. I did regret it for a long time because I think finishing is so important. And I was talking to my friend, George Stephanopoulos, about it. And because I'd always sort of toyed with the idea of going back to school, and they even wanted to give me an honorary, degree, honorary, graduate degree, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't finish it, but I look back now with more wisdom again, and I have no regrets because my life took this other beautiful journey, and I wouldn't change anything. But it did take me a long time, and I was very embarrassed about it for a long time.
Really? What were you majoring in, and how many more credits did you have to finish?
I was a theater major, and I think I have 3 quarters left. That was the quarter system at UCLA.
I feel like you've earned it now. Like,
yeah, I know.
551 episodes. I mean, that's like graduating college time.
And I went back, and I was, the graduate, commencement speaker, and it was very beautiful to me. And I love UCLA, and I love what I learned there, and I still have many of the friends that I made from there, and but I have a different sort of philosophy now about things. I don't have regrets that way anymore. I try to live in gratitude and think that things happen for a reason. And I've had so many blessings in my life that I don't dare regret.
Good for you. You also, yes, that deserves an applause. You went on to study at the Groundlings.
I did. Yes, I did.
That is, I don't know if a lot of people know that, and that is huge because you're very skilled at comedy, and the Groundlings is not an easy program to do.
No.
So what was that like?
I loved it. I was very intimidated by it. I always thought that I would be in comedy. I always thought that that's the way my career would go. And I started doing a lot of sitcoms, and, I just thought that's where I'd end up. And again, that's not where I ended up. But on ER, on that ER stint that I did, which was, I think, 16 or
13 episodes.
13?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you want to write my biography?
Sure.
But I did that, and I put in a lot of comedy in there. And that was my, happy place. Because I used to try to find, it's drama, but there were places where I got to pepper it in, and that's when it's sort of all cemented for me to find the humanity in it and not let anything be one thing, but to see where it goes and surprise yourself.
So how did you get your first agent or manager? And did it help or hurt that you had 2 very well-known parents at the time?
I got there was a man who was a manager who met my brother, and my brother's very handsome, and I think that he thought my brother, from the way he looked, should go into the business, and my brother was like, "Sweetheart, you're barking up the wrong tree here." And so he introduced this manager he said, "You need to meet my little sister." And so I met him, and then he introduced me to my first agent, but I was I think I was in high school. And so they would send me out on auditions, and I said, "I can't go because I have a swim meet." And so she sort of said, "Okay, well, why don't you call me when you get serious about it?" So I wasn't going to not go to a swim meet because I'd invested so much in my sports, and it meant a lot to me. But some of my first auditions were Blue Lagoon, and I read 9 times for Flashdance.
Ooh.
Could have been me with the off the shoulder. So
wait, 9 times?
Yeah, for Adrian Lyne. Yeah, a lot of callbacks for that.
What? Okay. How did you? There's so many questions.
What a feeling!
You didn't know what you were going to get tonight, did you? Friday night.
A whole other thing, guys.
What was that audition process like? And what was it like mentally going through that? Because here you're hoping for your big break, and 9?
Yeah, I was so young. You have to understand, I was so young. I didn't know anything, and it was just fun and scary, but I was sort of like, oh, this is great. I wasn't so invested, and it wasn't it was great. It was fun. I knew I didn't know enough about acting yet. So it was, it's all part of it. That's what I'm saying about not having regrets. I got rejected so much. I've had, you said, what was it like? I was having lunch with some people today from my amazing network. And I was talking about these auditions that you have. They're called generals when in my early 20s. And I went and met with somebody, I won't say who, but he said, what's your name? And I said, Mariska Hargitay. He goes, no, what's your real name? And I go like this, do you think I made that up? And then he said to me to change my name and to get a nose job. And I said, you get a nose job.
No, you didn't. Did you really?
I did. Yes, I did. Because
Okay.
I was like,
You
there's
have
nothing wrong
got
with my
to write a
nose.
book. You've got to write a book.
I know, I really do.
You
don't
really
I?
do.
All right, in my free time when I'm not busting perps.
I know.
But so like, what's it like having? It was
But wait,
a
though.
help and a
Okay.
hindrance,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
The parent thing, and I would walk into auditions and people would say, "Oh, I was expecting a blonde," or "I was expecting," a lot of expecting something else that I wasn't.
It's interesting as I was watching a lot of clips over this last week of like your first episodes of this or your first appearance on a talk show. Literally everybody is like, how do you say your name? Tell us about your
Yeah.
name. And I'm like, get over that. Like, just
can't.
be like, everybody's got a different name at times. Like, just say, like,
The
it
name
doesn't
really
need to be a
threw them.
story.
It really threw them.
I love your comeback to the nose job
Yeah.
comment, but did that mentally get in your head? Because that can really
No.
affect someone to think like,
No, it didn't.
oh God.
No, it didn't, because I had a great dad, and I was like, he's like, you decide. He always, he really instilled in me since I was little that he gave me such authority and made me trust my gut. So he goes, you know who you are. Nobody tells you who you are. You decide. And that's, all my shtick of I decide. That comes from a deep place and a gift of having a father that really believed in me and really nurtured my self-esteem that way. And so when he said that, I was like, I also know that my mother was typecast, right? She wanted to be a different kind of actress. And they said, dye your hair and put on a tight dress. So I was already going, I'm not playing that. Yeah. I'm not dyeing my hair and I'm not putting on a tight dress. And I'm going to do it my way. And I'll do it my way. And if it works, great. And if it doesn't, that's fine too.
That's the title of your book, My Way. We're just going to come up.
Hold on. Didn't Frank Sinatra already take that?
That's true, but maybe.
I should write a
Mariska's
song.
Way. Mariska's Way.
Yeah.
I love it. And your mother, by the way, had an IQ of 160, like
Yeah,
brilliant
that's
woman.
crazy.
And again, your father, the legendary Mickey Hargitay.
Yeah.
I love the advice that he gave to you and what he instilled.
So much good advice.
In you. I mean, you said like at 60, you're learning to really trust yourself. I don't know. From what you're saying, I feel like you really trusted yourself going far back to your 20s, because here you are going into the ER casting director and then
Yeah.
John Wells saying, no, I know what I did. You trusted yourself then. You trusted yourself to
Yeah.
say no to these, but you've been trusting yourself for a long time.
Yeah, maybe.
We need a couch.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it. How did you get your SAG card?
I got my SAG card, I think, in 1983. So I was born in 64. So that makes me 19, right? It was on Star 80. It was a Bob Fosse movie. And it's called an under 5. You have under 5 lines. I don't think I'm even in it. But a friend of mine said, I'm going to do this thing. And there was tryouts. And I went and got chosen. And so I was there, for 5 days and maybe said a line or two. But I got my SAG card. And that was so exciting for me. I remember that was on my resume. And I go into auditions and they'd say, oh, you're in Star 80? And I'm like, I didn't see you. I was small, but I was in it. It was so funny.
I love that.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And you did a 15-episode stint on Falcon Crest.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, again, looking at these clips, your hair in the opening is just
So good.
fabulous.
So good.
It's so good.
So good.
So good. What was that experience
It was
like for you?
amazing. First of all, I knew nothing. I didn't know anything. And I just remember Jane Wyman, who got to work at 6 and left at noon, right? So that was the first thing. And she was a badass. But she was so amazing, and I didn't understand about the marks. And so I remember like doing the scene with her, and just during the scene, she would just move me. So I'd be in the scene, and I'd feel this, and then I go. And it was so great. I learned. I learned and learned. I was just so young, trying to learn. And Ana Alicia was on that show, and she was such a good actress. And I remember watching her like drop in. And she said something to me one time that I remember and I have used and I've said to other actors, because I would look at her and go, how do you do that? How do you just drop in? Or how do you start crying? Or how do you get so mad? And she said, she was so loving to me too, and nurturing like a little sister. She was really special woman. Anyway, she said, Mariska, I have a little box, and it's like my bag of tricks, and I have all the emotions in there. And I just go in there, and I pull whatever one out I need. And it was just so beautiful. And so I had that beautiful image in my mind that I also had all the emotions in there that I need. And it was just about finding them or excavating them or sitting with myself, being still enough to get in contact with it. So that was a beautiful image for me as an actor, as a young actor.
I love hearing these stories, especially like these iconic shows.
Yeah.
Speaking of iconic, you did Baywatch.
Iconic. Almost died on that one.
I mean, you fell over the boat.
I jumped
in the water.
I was supposed to, but I was such a good swimmer. That I remember this. It was not a good story. I swam. I jumped in the water, but I was such a good swimmer that I was concerned that it would look like I was fake drowning. Okay. So I said to the stunt guy, "I'm going to go in. I'm going to come up for air, and once I do, pull me down." So I came up. But I didn't get all the way up. And so he pulled me down. Not his fault, but I got water in my lungs. So I had to go to the hospital. Oh my God. Yeah, that wasn't great. And I was so scared I was going to die that night. Because, you can get water in your lungs, and if you lie down, it can go up. So it was very scary. But, when you're young, you're like, it's got to be real. And I know, but I really have bruises. I remember when I started SVU, I still have scars on my wrists because it was a scene where, somebody handcuffed me and I was trying to get out of it. So I was like, it's gotta be real. And I'm sitting here trying to get out. Meanwhile, my wrists are bleeding and I'm thinking like, I'm so real. And then, you learn and you're like, you don't really have to do that. No. So, I've been in the hospital a few times, the punctured lung and stuff on SVU. It's been crazy, but I learned my lesson. Now that I'm 60.
Also, I have to say, I love how you own your age, and I've read quotes.
I love my age.
I love that because we need to be open.
First of all, I still got it. Do I not?
You more than have it.
No, but I feel so, listen, guys, after COVID, I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm so grateful to be here. And I mean, right? We all should be so grateful. Every day is a gift. I mean, every day is a gift. So I don't take that for granted and I celebrate it. And I also think, people come into their wisdom and power at this age. I really do. I'm so much better than I was when I was young. I'm so much better.
But you're also empowering so many other actors, whatever profession you're in, because the more people that are owning it and are proud of it, it makes it easier for everybody else to own that too.
Yes.
And, and I think we need to do more of that because we're all struggling together where we think like, oh gosh.
And we're all the same and we all feel the same.
Yes.
You walk in a room, you're like, oh my God, I'm so insecure. They're insecure. And then you talk about it and you're like, oh my God, I thought you were. And you're like, oh, I thought you were. And then, but it's such a thing. It's such a lesson that now you just go up to them like, oh, hi, talk to them. And then everything's okay. And kindness changes everything. A smile changes the trajectory. Everything, kindness and love and giving people the benefit of the doubt is what heals. Period. End of story. I really believe that so much. I thank you. What are you laughing at, front row man? But by the way,
I feel like we're at a dinner table.
Front row man,
Saying how kind you were.
I am the nicest. But your laugh is so loving and fun, and it's making me think I'm so funny.
By the way, do you know what I was going to add? What I've already come up with in my mind when we get to this section, but I'm just going to go ahead to it now. I swear to God. Okay, so Mariska is good friends with Brooke Shields.
I am.
You and Brooke need to do.
I know.
You need to play sisters and be in a rom-com and go to Italy or something. When is
so
that
funny.
comedy coming?
It's coming.
Please.
It's coming. It's coming. No, I actually had lunch with. How are you? I actually had lunch with sort of the lady leadership at NBC today, and we were talking.
Perlina?
I did.
I love Perlina
I love
Igbokwe,
Perlina,
who's
but
the
I
head
had
of-
lunch with all of them.
Oh, they're all amazing.
It's so amazing, and I feel like I've like grown up with all of them. That's also the gift. Yeah. It's like we all started, and then we all grew up together. Yeah. So it was so fun to be in this team of these badass leadership, these beautiful, supportive women. Again, community. But we were talking about next chapter. I mean, listen, SVU is going to go on for another, not years. But there's definitely a next chapter, and I'm excited about it.
You can do both. You have a hiatus, so
Yeah, for 8 weeks.
right. Well, still.
I have 14 children, a foundation. I'm making documentaries.
But wait,
Come
remember,
on, people.
you're just getting started.
That is true.
You're just getting started here. Oh my! I feel like everybody should be eating. We should
I know.
dinner
Who's got,
conversation.
does anybody need somebody run out and get
We're in a
popcorn
movie
for
theater
everyone.
and we have no popcorn. That's what we need. Okay, we got to talk about Seinfeld.
Oh,
Because you
right?
did.
That was a good one. That's what I'm saying. I thought I was going to go into comedy. What happened?
You need.
What the hell happened? Look at Jean Smart.
Yes.
I'm the next Jean Smart, people. Oh, God, she's awesome.
You killed me.
I can't.
Not with you. Oh my God.
Nobody knows Olivia Benson is funny AF.
I mean,
People have no idea what goes on our show.
come on, Dick Wolf.
I know. He knows it. Oh, he knows it.
Well, then what's he doing?
He likes Olivia Benson.
All right, but you also.
And he likes to keep it that way.
Well, you also know people. You
I
know
do.
Perlina. You need a comedy.
Okay, well, let me get on it.
That in a
get
book.
on it, Patrick.
That in a book. I'm gonna give you more jobs
Oh my
than you know what
gosh,
to
I'm
do
so
with. By the
excited
end
about my
of-
book. Would you guys read it? Okay.
You're gonna have
You
more-
heard it here first.
Okay, back to Seinfeld.
Okay.
You did an episode called The Pilot, which
Yes.
wasn't really the pilot of Seinfeld,
No.
but it was called The Pilot. And
Yes.
you played an actor. It was like a thing within a show where you were auditioning to play Elaine.
Yes.
But then I heard that you also actually auditioned for the role of Elaine in the very beginning.
I'm so old, I don't remember. I may have. I auditioned for Friends. I know that.
Wait, you did?
Yeah.
For who? Tell me everything.
Monica.
You did not.
Yeah.
Wait, how far did you get in that process?
One and done. They were like, nope, next. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember. But listen, it worked out for me, didn't it?
No, I know it did, but still, like,
I could have been a friend.
or like, if not Monica, Joey's sister.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know. And I was never even on that show.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
Who the hell are these?
Right in.
You need to go into more casting directors' offices
I
and be
really
like,
do.
come on, people.
John Levy, the casting director, ER, wrote a book, and I think my story's in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
We
he
gotta go
wrote a
check.
book because, he asked me.
field trip to Barnes and Noble
Yeah,
after this.
field trip to
It's
Barnes
right
and
down the
Noble.
road here. Okay, wait. So back to Seinfeld. So when you did the episode, what did you learn from that experience? Were you terrified going into it?
Well, yeah, terrified, but so excited. I mean, this is the best show. He's so funny. Was my favorite. It was great, and they were so nice. And I had fun, and it was great. It was great. You know, it was quick, but it was so enjoyable and kind and fun, and they were super supportive. It was just great.
Okay, one story. I hope you remember this because I think there's such a lesson. It's you probably wanted to forget it at the time, but I think it's such a great story about perseverance. And I think probably any actor can relate to this. I read that your scenes, you were in 1995's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Let's
movie.
get into it.
Yep. And your scenes were cut out entirely.
It's better than that.
What?
They flew me to Australia to play Dulcia, Queen of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They fitted me up with first of all, they shaved off my eyebrows. Let's start
No!
there. No.
Wait a minute. No.
Oh, no. They wanted it to be like a Vulcan, and so it took me years. This one hasn't grown back. I'm sure some of you have noticed. But I shaved it from here at the peak off, and so, because they wanted him to go up. They gave me green contacts, really sexy number that I wore. And then I was in Australia alone. It was November, and they had me on hold for so long, for basically 2 months. So finally I said, I'm going home. I wanted to go home for Christmas.
Yeah.
So I flew myself home. And then when I called them, like January 3rd, I'm like, hey guys, you want me back? And they're like, no, we're good. So it was one of those. I went and I think I replaced somebody.
Okay.
Because it all happened kind of quickly, and then they didn't know what they were doing, and then they kept me on hold. So I went home, and then I think they found somebody else. So I never really,
Got to do anything.
No.
And you shaved your eyebrows.
Yeah. But I think, again, it all worked out.
Yes, it totally did.
Yeah.
But what did that experience teach you about the business and about like not shaving off your eyebrows?
Well, I was, not now when I'm talking. God bless you. God bless you. I wouldn't do it differently. I went there. I did everything they said. It was Christmas time. I wanted to go home. I was homesick.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like December 21st.
Right.
And I went home. So, I mean, sure, I was bummed out and embarrassed because I was fired, but I mean, it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not to be judgy, but I didn't really need to be the queen of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
You do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. Listen, a job is a job. You work hard for it.
No,
you know?
you do, but it wasn't right for me. It wasn't mine. It wasn't mine. Karmically, that's right.
I just cannot believe the eyebrows. Oy.
Oh, I know. I really have to post a photo of it.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it to you.
I mean, thank God you didn't do the nose job thing. Like,
Yeah.
thank
Can
God.
you imagine?
No.
I wouldn't have a nose if I had done it.
Thank God you did. All right, so let's go to ER now. You talked about this amazing audition story.
Yeah.
When you got it, what did that do for your self-confidence? Because you were a fan going into this too.
Big fan. It was.
And wait, for the audience that may not know, Cynthia, your character, was in a relationship with Mark Green. Exactly.
Hello.
Anthony Edwards. I mean, hello.
Yeah, it was the I would say the beginning of my career as an actor, seriously, and the beginning of my when I said I can do this. Like I can do this. I know how to do this, and I was so happy. You know, also when you work with such great actors, you know, it elevates you, right? Because all you have to do is listen and answer and just tell the truth and look into their eyes, right? So that scene that I did, the audition scene, was my first scene with George Clooney and Juliana, right? So that was my first scene, and it was a big day and a big, huge career marker, I would say, because after I did that scene, the crew clapped for me. So, and I knew again, that was another scene that I just understood the part,
Yeah.
you know, on some deep level. And so that's the part you heard about the comedy, and I was like hitting my head and doing all this crazy stuff. And it was the first time I felt like truly open as an actor, where you do the work and then you let it go and then you get in flow. And I was in flow, and it was hard to be in flow with looking across from, you know, George and Juliana. No,
I wouldn't be in
No,
flow.
it wasn't George. Sorry. Was it Tony and Juliana? I can't remember who it was now.
Wait, which scene? When you?
It's the first scene.
Okay, so no, it
It's
was
the scene
Anthony
when
Edwards when
Anthony
you were
Edwards.
and Juliana,
But George was there that
and you
day.
forgot your resume.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's the one where, you know, it's a scene where I'm going in to read for a desk clerk.
Right.
Totally underqualified. I don't have a resume. And the whole scene, as I'm saying, hold on, I know it's in here. So I packed a very large bag, and I brought like telephone, like this is 97. So I brought like a telephone, like regular telephone, and like a banana, and just random like deodorant, like random weird stuff, notepad. And so the whole thing, I gave myself, you know, something to do. So I was focusing on finding it. So I was like, one sec, I know it's in here. And then I spilled it, and then it fell on the floor, and I was like, I'm so sorry. And it was that. So it was that, you know, I studied Meisner. And so in Meisner, the question is, are you really doing what you say you're doing, or are you just pretending? And that is so deeply drilled into my being, in my essence. You know, like I can see when I'm taking notes, if there's another cop there and they're like doing the bullshit scribble, I'm like,
Name
I'm like,
names.
I'm like, write it down, because you notice the difference. Like I'm on SVU and they're talking, I'm writing down what they're saying. That's what I'm doing.
You
really
should
writing it
sell
down.
those notes for charity. Like you could auction those notes off. Do you realize that? I'm coming up with more.
Season 26, baby.
I'm coming up with more jobs for you. You could make
that's
for
a
your
good idea.
foundation or something like.
Well, it is
auction-
20 years of SVU. I am looking to
Right.
raise a forever fund.
Yeah, so those notes, people would buy that.
For Joyful Heart. Did I say that? For Joyful Heart, I'm looking to raise money, not for.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
SVU.
interrupt you. I'm getting all these ideas.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
so
really
excited.
interrupting a lot.
Sorry.
No, but what were we just talking about? Oh yeah, that. So I was
the
intimidated, but I said, Mariska, stay in your own lane. Do what you're doing. What are you trying to do? Get this job. That's all I was focused on. So you know, I felt really. It was a big deal on that show because I was going. You know, it's so intimidating. And at that time, that show was the show.
Yes.
ER was the show. It was Friends and ER, Must See TV, all that. So I couldn't believe it. Like I finally had gotten on the greatest show on television and working.
Screw Friends. You
Yeah.
got an ER.
Yeah.
Baby.
But so it was really exciting. And then, you know, they kept picking up I signed on for 4 episodes.
Really?
And then it was 4 more.
Okay.
And then it was 4 more.
I was going to ask you about that because you did 13 episodes
Yeah.
on
So
there.
it was 3 times 12, right?
Yeah, did they tell you
3 times
going
4.
into it? Because I would imagine you would have stayed if they would have kept extending it.
No,
so
no.
what did
They
you-
said when I read for the part, it was an arc, 4-episode arc.
Wow.
So then it, you know, it
That's
kept worked
amazing.
out. But it was
Yeah.
such an amazing experience working on that, and I learned so much from, particularly from Anthony Edwards, who was such a great actor. And you know, we had this one scene in particular where I had to, we got drunk and we were doing tequila shots. In bed, and so that's a scary scene to do, and you
Yeah.
want to do it well because a lot of people do drunk really bad.
How do
I
you
am
do
so
drunk?
go- I'm the best. Nobody's better than me.
Tell me.
No, I
Let's
really
show it.
am. I
Show
swear
it.
I could teach anyone.
Okay, how do you do it?
Okay. First thing you do is you do less than you think you do.
Okay.
And what you do is a little over focus. So I'm super happy to be here. First of all, I love you guys. And also, you're actors, I'm actors. We're all the same. And we love each other. And you guys know Myers, right? Repetition, repetition, repetition. And so it's a little slower. It's a little slurry, but it's not this. People like do too much and go, it's not that, it's this. It's a little bit of a sway. And it's a little bit of a, You take your time, right? And it's over focus. Stay right there. I see you. I'm thirsty. It's a.
Okay, wait. I want.
But I've been begging them to write me a drunk scene, and they won't because Olivia Benson can't get drunk.
Listen, I want them all right now. All of you guys on your resumes under training.
Yes.
The Mariska Hargitay School of Drunk Acting.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
Write it down.
When you're drunk, you try not to be. And that's what you have to remember. You don't want to be drunk. You want to be cool and easy and say, first of all, I had one drink. You need to calm down. First of all, I hold my liquor well, and everyone needs to calm down. So, but you know what, though? I'll give this credit. You know who I'll give the credit to? Chris Maloney and I.
Yeah.
For 12 years.
Yeah.
Come on. Chris Maloney and I, between takes, would practice our drunk. And I'm not kidding. He'll tell you. And we would critique each other, and because we would also do it, and it would be so funny. And I go, no, it's too much. It's too much. You know. And then we would find it. He's also excellent at it.
Oh my God.
I can also do stoned, but I'm not going to do that. You do that well. Yeah. I can do it.
Oh,
No, I'm not doing it.
give the people what they want.
No, I won't.
I decide.
Yeah, I decide. I gave you drunk. That was good.
Yeah. You've gotten out of your seat like 4 or 5
I
times
know.
already. I love it.
I'm a person of the people.
You are. I've never had any actor get out of their seat 4 or 5 times already. This is fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Come on.
Let's keep going. See what am I get to 15 or 20. I don't know where the hell we were right now. Okay. Anyway. Oh yeah. So you were doing so then 12 episodes or whatever, and you were done. How scary was that?
When Chris left?
Oh wait, who are we talking about now? Are we talking about?
What are you
We're back on ER.
Oh, ER.
Yeah, sorry, you went on
No,
Maloney,
so
and
you think how
sorry.
scary was that?
By the way, love that scene last. I don't want to spoil too much, but the finale last night.
Did you guys see the finale?
Yeah.
Who?
Your friend?
Yes. It was so good last night, I thought.
Yeah.
So good.
And that
Yeah.
last scene with the necklace. I won't say
Yeah, it was
anything
good.
more, but it was really
People
good.
had mixed feelings about the necklace, but it's okay.
All right, we'll get to Maloney.
We'll get
and the
into that
necklace
later.
Okay. Bring out the couch, people. Back to ER. So when your arc was done, which was
Yeah.
already icing on the cake, because
It
as
was
you
already
said,
icing on the cake.
Yeah, you did way more than you thought.
Yes.
But how hard was that afterwards? Like here you go from being on the hottest show, and you're waiting now for your next project. How did you stay in a mindset of gratitude and knowing? Because I think everybody can feel that whatever job that you leave, it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard, but I was so grateful. And also, once you're on the #1 show, then it changes your resume. So I was already people watch that show, so I felt like I was already on the map, and I was so proud of my work that I could say, I had tape now, I had work that I was proud of. I could go in and go, here's my tape. You know what I'm saying? It was a difference of, auditioning for something and not feeling right. I felt like now I had something to show for myself, And that was so exciting. That in the Merv Griffin show when I was 3 or 2. But so I was just so happy. I mean, of course, it's terrifying when a job ends.
Right.
Obviously, it's terrifying for all of us. I mean, it's terrifying. But, listen, this is what we signed up for. This is what we signed up for. We know it. This is what we do. This is what we love. So I was, I had worked, my 20s were hard because I got a show in my 20s too early before I knew what I was doing.
What show is that?
Well, Falcon Crest was in my 20s, right?
Okay.
And then I did another show maybe called Downtown or something.
Right. That was your first credit, I think. It was a CBS medical show.
Yeah.
And then you did that sitcom with Nancy McKeon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did all these shows, I think, in my 20s, and then I didn't work for a long time, 6 years or 6 years maybe of my 20s. 20s were rough because I worked a lot at the beginning, and then you think, I started, I'm working. And then it was dry, and I didn't start working consistently until I was, I think 30 is when it all kind of started for me, becoming steady.
Yeah.
But so when I finished ER, which was 97, I did ER 97, 98, I was very lucky after that, and I got a development deal.
Did you?
So I was developing a comedy,
Who was the development deal with?
DreamWorks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did that come about?
They saw my work on ER.
Wow.
And they had seen, all the
Yeah,
sitcoms
different.
plus ER plus
Right.
other tape, and then they just knew who I was by that point.
Okay.
And then I got a development deal, which was very exciting. So I was developing a show, which was a dramedy, if you will. I sort of fancied myself I thought maybe like an Ally McBeal.
Okay.
I wanted it to be a drama, but with a lot of heavy comedy.
Yeah.
That's what I thought I should be doing. And they worked with a writer, I remember, and we worked for like 8 months, and then SVU came along.
Another comedy.
And it was funny when I got the audition for SVU, my manager called me and he goes, "Listen, I got a script for you. I don't think you're gonna like it. It's very dark." And it was so, I understood why he said that, because I was leaning toward this dramedy. I was leaning toward comedy. And then I read SVU. It was called Sex Crimes at the time. And I was like sold, done. I knew it was my part. I knew it. I mean, I knew it was my part. I wanted it.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was my part.
Right. I got
I guess I did, though.
Yeah.
But it was just so, I loved it. It was so right. I'd never loved anything more. And that's when I started auditioning for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's this story that so many people know now where you walk into your audition, you think John Slattery is going to be there, and you call out Slattery, and it's Chris Maloney, and Maloney goes, "Maloney! Why did you really
My
think
agents told me John Slattery was going to be there. And I didn't know who he was, but I knew he was a good actor. He's brilliant.
Wait, you didn't know who he was, but you knew he was a good actor?
He's like, John Slattery's going to be there. So I walked in and I saw Chris. I'd never seen him before. So I go, "Slattery!" And he goes, "Maloney!" And that was the beginning. And that was the beginning of it.
I love it. And also, I learned a fun fact, maybe you all knew, and I just am late to this, that Olivia and Elliot, the names, are Dick Wolf's real-life children.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, good. I wasn't late to this. I was like,
Yeah.
it's like, why did everybody else know this? No. So Olivia is his daughter, and Elliot is his son.
And Serena is his other daughter who played my mother's name was Serena.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
What did you have any connection when you heard the name Olivia Benson? Because now this name has become so iconic. I mean, Taylor Swift has a cat named after Olivia. I'm sure people have come up to you all the time to say, "I named my child Olivia Benson," after you. So, but when you heard the name at the time, did you think, do you ever have an attachment to a character name? Or did you know there was something kind of special about this one?
I just loved the name Olivia, and I loved that it said live. I loved that it had the word live in it, and I just thought it was a strong name and a feminine name, but it had power behind it, and I just loved everything about her name, her character, everything.
Do you remember then what your first line was in the first episode?
No, what is it?
I'm not that good.
Well, I think you are. But that would be an excellent trivia question. No, I have no idea what my first line was.
Do you know?
I remember a lot of lines
But not
from
your
it.
first?
No.
You're going to die when I tell you.
What is it?
Olivia Benson. That was your line.
Okay, that's okay.
You're welcome.
You're
It's so
welcome.
easy. When everybody tells you,
Okay, I got
was
it
your
now.
name. You were introducing
Now
yourself.
that you've humiliated me in front
Sorry.
of God knows how many people.
Oh, you already did that with the drunken thing. It's fine. We're equal. We're equal now.
I don't think I humiliated myself. I think you guys thought it was good.
It was fabulous.
Right?
It was fabulous.
I can teach all of you and make you the best at it.
I'm putting it on my resume, and I'm not even an actor.
I'm serious. I love teaching people that. I don't know why.
I love
Well, because
that.
you know why? Also, because people do it so poorly, and
Yeah.
it's annoying
Yeah.
when they're bad at it.
Right.
Because drunk is so specific. It's so specific. It really bothers me when people do it in a sloppy way. Sorry.
You are my favorite. Can I just say, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway. You're my I think my favorite person I've ever interviewed, because you're just so present and fun and into, like, I just love it.
Oh,
I could
thank
just
you.
be here forever. Truly. I
you.
talk to so many people, and it's so nice when someone comes to play. Like, I'm having the best time. You
Well-
can tell I keep drinking water. I'm exhausted, like in the best way possible. You can't
Okay,
even
so
touch yours.
I want to say something about that.
Uh-oh.
No, it's really important.
Okay.
So that's what I mean. So my son is a senior in high school. And so we just went through the college admissions. What do you call it?
Process.
Process. But, you know, it's
Yeah,
a
it's a
thing.
process.
And it's hard and it's very stressful. And so one of the things, you know, after going and visiting all these colleges, at every college, what they say is, we want to know you. They said, we want to know you. Don't write like what you think we want to hear. Don't write, you know, make up something so you think you sound good. We want to know who you are. And that really landed with me because, you know, when these colleges are obviously they care about your grades, blah, blah, blah. However, you know, they build a class. And my husband and I both really like drilled that into our son. And we said, this is the key to life, is being who you are. And so it's the same with actors because we are playing these different parts, right? And we have to be all these different people. However, an energetic place, like when you meet somebody that's comfortable in their own skin, and when you meet somebody that's free to be themselves, you're like, oh my God, I'm so comfortable. I'm just relaxed around them because they're authentic. So you go, oh, okay, we're just like real people here. Sorry, my pants were riding up. but that's the thing, you know, like it's real. As a young actor or somebody, you're like, oh God, my throat, you know, whatever. And now I just go, this is the thing. And I say it to actors when they're going auditions. All they want you to do is be yourself so they can see what you are and what your energy is and what real is. Because nobody wants fake.
Right.
Whatever you are, that's the gold. And that's what we all need to do. And that's what I think the wisdom is. So thank you for saying that. It's a lovely compliment. But,
true. My
But
pleasure.
no, don't clap yet. But thanks. No, because the point is, there's so much freedom in being our authentic selves. And there's so much more work in that. Because it puts the person who's casting you and the director, they're like, oh, well, they're confident, they're easy, they can sound like they're going to be easy to work with, and they're just themselves. So they're not tight. Because if you're nervous, they're nervous. You know, because I sit there and I do a lot of auditioning, you know, and people
Yeah.
are nervous to
Yeah.
read with me.
Yeah.
And so I immediately am like, you know, do my shtick. And I make them very comfortable. I'm like, nobody understands better what it's like than me. So we, you know, do a thing and then
Yeah.
we relax them and they're like, oh, okay, I can
Yeah.
relax. And nobody can do good work when they're nervous.
Right.
I can't. I was bad for the first few years of SVU. I was so nervous. Do you
Really
laugh?
think
But
that?
yeah,
You do.
I really think that. I listened to some of that early stuff.
Right.
And I know, listen, I know what I am.
Yeah.
I'm saying, however, there's a lot of that high voice that's not grounded.
Yeah.
And I would do it differently.
Yeah.
And yet, what's beautiful is the
The
arc of it,
Yeah.
the trajectory, because that's a character that grew up before our eyes.
Yes. Exactly.
But if I could redo it again, I would
wouldn't.
give myself that freedom to just go, listen, you're either it or you're not.
Right.
Don't be nervous. Do the best work you can. What are your actions? What do you want in a scene? What do you want? What are you trying to get? Are you doing it or not? Period. Do your work and get out. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not about you. It's about the work.
Yeah.
And that's so freeing. It's so freeing because it's not about you. But, it's scary.
Right.
So teaching ourselves how to calm down and trust ourselves.
You said in your recent Variety piece, which was excellent,
Thank
that
you.
you were almost fired for cutting your hair.
Yes, that is a true story.
Do you regret that?
Listen, I didn't do it on purpose. What happened was I was at a photo shoot
Okay.
with a very famous photographer and famous hairdresser, not Chris McMillan. And so he said, do you want me to cut your hair? And so he came over to my house after, or no, I think we did it at the studio, wherever we were. And he cut my hair and he had a glass of wine. So he was cutting my hair, and then I saw him do one cut that was irreversible. Like, we couldn't go back. And so it was a moment where I went, oh my God. And then he had to cut my hair and, make it even. And so, it was very stressful for me. Yeah. And so I called one of our producers, and he was like, that's fine. But then then Dick found out, and he was very upset. And so, he thought that I just made a change, which I did not. Right. And I would never. I think I look better with long hair.
It wasn't
No, it wasn't. Excuse me. But, he didn't know me. It was in the early years. Thank you. He didn't really know me. So I think he also was not scared, but he was like, what is she doing? Is she crazy? You can't just cut your hair. And, I don't think it was the middle of an episode, but it wasn't good. And so he was very scared. And then he's like, I fired people for less. And so he said, I hope you like the beach because you'll be spending a lot of time there. And he's very, very funny. He wasn't being funny at this time. And he said that, and I was crying, and I was like, this is my fault. I didn't do it on purpose. And he's like, there's no crying in television. But I was very upset. And he said he was going to fire me, and then he didn't. And I think he was just trying to scare me, saying, don't do it again.
I mean, I would be terrified.
I was terrified.
So, yeah.
I was terrified. I think he was too. Saying in retrospect, I think he was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
What's happening? You can't just go and change a character's look. And he was right, but it was an accident.
Yeah.
An accident. The guy was hammered, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe when I saw him with the wine, I should have said, you know what? Maybe not tonight.
Oh, God. You've talked a lot in the past about your prep to play Olivia Benson.
Yes.
And I want to make sure we get into this because what this character has done for people and what you have done as her to bring her to life is just, I've never seen anything like it. And the response, if you're having a bad day, I would go on and read your social media because your fans are the most incredible fans, and what they write about you, I'm like, if anybody's having a bad day, just go read Marish because the comments on there, it's amazing. What were the lengths you went to bring her to life and do her justice?
Well, thank you for that. When I first got the role, I was so excited and so terrified. Because I'm, again, girl from LA, didn't know about, how to play an NYPD detective. And I know that I had a very New York quality about me. I've always been told that since I was, little. So I got to New York, and I started going on ride-alongs with cops. And I met one detective in particular. Her name was Detective Tanya Cawley, who was from SVU, and I thought she was so amazing. She was so strong and so powerful and so compassionate and didn't take any shit from anyone and was so clear is what she was. And so I tried to spend as much time with her as I could. And then I learned about the issues of domestic violence and sexual assault, and I learned the statistics. And I couldn't believe the statistics. That's when I sort of, my mind was blown and I didn't understand why everyone wasn't talking about it. So I decided to become a rape crisis counselor. And I went through a 40-hour training and learned about survivors and what they needed and how to deal with them. And most of all, what was so beautiful about the training was it was basically a class in learning how to listen. And I remember when I finished the training, I thought, every human should take this class, because so many of us are sort of programmed to be uncomfortable in the silences, and we want to fill it, and we want to say, oh yes, I know what you mean. And it's like, no, you don't. You don't know what they mean, and you don't know what they've gone through. So learning how to listen and mirror back and ask what somebody needs and be educated by what a survivor needs was so powerful to me. And then I started receiving, a different kind of fan mail. And a lot of the fan mail was saying, I wish you were the detective on my case. And that was heartbreaking, because I think that what they were responding to was empathy, compassion, being believed, being listened to, and also the way that law enforcement had traditionally interviewed survivors in a linear way, also not helpful. So as we've learned now with the neurobiology of trauma, memories don't go in a linear way. They come in sensorially, and they come in all different ways. It could be music, it could be a sound, it could be a feeling, it could be temperature change, it could be so many things, but the mind and the memory is fractured. So that's when we started doing trauma informed interviewing on the show. And that's when I decided that I wanted to make Olivia Benson sort of half cop, half rape crisis counselor. And so I also, because it was predominantly male-dominated industry, I said, I don't want to play it like a man. I don't want to have a male energy, because I'm a woman, and I feel like women do things differently, and sometimes not as in such a linear way, but a more holistic way. And I thought that was what was needed to play this character. So I just educated myself in every way I could, and started Joyful Heart as a response to being immersed and inundated in this material and subject matter, and it was my way of doing something about it.
Yeah. That deserves a round of applause. And I read a lot of things saying, like, it's remarkable that SVU has lasted 25 seasons and is still at the top of its game and everything. And I truly believe it's because of you. Nobody else could have made it what this is.
Thank you.
You bring, as hard as the cases are every week, you bring a sense of comfort to people who watch. And you cannot fake that. It's the real, authentic you that comes through. And that's what people see and they gravitate towards. and it's
Well,
been there.
thank you for that. It was sort of, listen, it's an honor, a privilege. It's inspiring and sobering, I say, that, the longest running TV show is about, the longest running female character on a TV show is somebody who fights for justice in a compassionate, passionate, fierce and empathetic way. And it shows how much our culture needed this character. And it's a privilege to play her. It's a privilege to play a part in anyone's healing.
That's so beautiful. You guys are so amazing. Do you have Kleenex on you? I almost brought Kleenex up with me. Do you guys have Kleenex up? We should have had a box here. You don't even have to respond to this, but there was a quote that you wrote in People earlier this year.
No, I'm good.
You're good. Okay. In your cover story. And I just wanted to read it because I thought it was so profound and people have never talked about it this way. But you wrote, I said for a long time that my hope was for people to be able to talk about sexual assault the same way they now talk about cancer. Tell someone you've survived cancer and you're celebrated. I want the same response for sexual assault survivors. And I thought that was, yes. Thought that was so profound in changing the narrative of what it means to be a survivor of sexual assault. Be proud that you did it. And that leads to healing.
So much to be proud of. Having survived, there's so much to celebrate.
Yeah.
And the way it's, the way it is now in our culture, and I talked about this a little bit in the variety, I think we need to change the grammar around it, because that's what's hitting me now is when people say, I was raped. Where's the perpetrator? Where's the perpetrator in the grammar? And so we need to change that, because I don't think that the survivor should have ownership of what was perpetrated on them. And I certainly feel that way. And so it's just an exciting time that people are talking about this, and that's why I love SVU. It brought it in the forefront of the culture and our consciousness, and it's not taboo to talk about anymore. There is a community. You are not alone. The shame doesn't belong on you. And I think survivors are knowing that more and more and owning that more and more. And I even, about my own story, I love talking about it now so openly and freely, because it's not triggering anymore.
It doesn't have ownership.
It has none. And so that's what I want for everyone.
Because you have such a big heart and you've taken on so much with Joyful Heart and with this role that you play day in and day out, 10 months a year, how do you not take it home with you, though? Because you are so compassionate that you want to help everybody. How do you separate? And it might be as simple as walking in and seeing your dogs and your kids and your husband.
No, that's a great question.
How do you do that?
It was hard for a while. I had a lot of, it's called secondary trauma. And people would come up to me. I remember one time in a theater, that's when I was like, oh, you need help. Because a lot of people have shared their stories with me. And I feel so grateful and privileged. But I had to learn how to take care of myself, because it is a lot. And I've just done a lot of work, and I know how to do it. And I also, the fact that I have Joyful Heart and that I'm doing so much about it and talking about it, that gives me so much peace. And that I get to have people come up to me and say, SVU, changed my life, or SVU changed how I feel, or I'm so glad, and now I have a community, and blah, 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 and I know I'm not alone. And people have shared such beautiful things with me that is such a privilege to be, again, part of, to be part of someone's healing. Like, what is better than having a little role in healing the world and making the world a little cozier. I mean, isn't that what storytelling is? Isn't that what the exchange of energy and storytelling and saying, hey, this happened to me, this happened to you, we're alike, we're the same, we're in this together. And so that, you know, like you said about my fans, I do have a different kind of fan. It's such an intimate relationship. There's brave people too, that there's a bond between people that have gone through a trauma like this and, you know, the new language and the newness and the possibility. That's what it's about, right? It's about the possibility, and we're all going forward. So I always say that people, you know, people say like, oh, I want to be like you. I'm like, no. You already are like me if you're drawn to that, because birds of a feather, right? Yeah. So if you energetically, I don't want to get too, you know, but it's not too, because it's just the truth, because we are energy. But the world is in a really rough place right now, and there's also a lot of healing going on. So I like to focus on that.
Speaking of joy, what does season 3, episode 11 mean to you? Does that hold any significance?
Nope. Season 3. Oh, is that the 100th episode?
No. Which also has significance
That has
to you.
significance to me.
Because,
My father was in it.
yes.
Yes. That was a joy. It was the 100th episode. I have no idea what year it was. You know, it really.
2003.
2003?
Yeah.
So that's season 3 or 4? Whatever.
4.
I don't know.
4.
But what was season 3?
Season 3, episode 11.
What?
Don't tell her.
Oh, Peter?
When your husband guest starred for the first time.
Oh, God, don't tell Peter. I didn't know. That was a good one.
And John Ritter guest starred on that as well. I mean, as we saw from the sizzle reel, like Robin Williams, Carol Burnett, like Sarah
Martin
Paulson,
Short.
Martin Short, like, yes, the list goes on. But Peter, season 3, episode
Peter.
11.
Oh, God, I was smitten. Oh, the tall German.
I mean, how could you not be?
I didn't know what to do.
You weren't even in a scene with him that first episode.
Saw him. Yeah, but that's maybe if I wasn't in a scene with him. See, I don't remember that. I remember the scene that I was in with him and Chris, because Chris was like giving me the eyes, like he was laughing at me because he could tell. He knows me so well, and so it was, you know, obvious.
So cute.
I don't get nervous very often.
But that did it.
Yeah, but it wasn't season. It must have been a different episode, because is that when he was with Stephanie March?
Yeah, but he wasn't. You weren't. You guys didn't have scenes together in his first
when
episode.
I really noticed him, I had scenes with him. That's when it started.
Okay.
Well, that's what I remember.
All right.
I remember being in the interrogation room.
I don't think you were. I watched it this week.
Oh, you
guys
did?
didn't have any scenes in that, unless I.
Well, I mean, he maybe met me, but
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, this is your night, so we'll figure it. When we do the
let's
joint.
not argue.
When we do the joint Peter and Mariska one, then we'll get into all that, because I love your love story. It's just.
yeah, but you know him.
I do know him. Yes. I was telling my mom, it was funny. I was moderating a panel for Younger like 8 years ago. And Peter, of course, was on it, and so good on it. And my mom was in town, so she came to it. And after the panel, she ran up to Peter, and all she wanted to talk to Peter about was Mariska. And I love your wife and everything
So
else.
funny.
So
So
yeah,
sweet.
it was very sweet. Okay, wait. I'm getting the rap sign, but we're not done yet.
Episode 3?
Season 11.
3.
Season 3, episode 11. Okay.
I should get him some jewelry with that on it.
Your Emmy Award. When you won, first of all, you deserve more than one Emmy Award. I'm sorry. I know Emmys are hard. Like, one is amazing. You deserve all the Emmys, as far as I'm concerned. Seriously. How did that empower you professionally and personally?
Well, personally, it empowered me a lot because my dad, I think that's something that he wanted, my dad was an athlete and a champion speed skater and Mr. Universe and Mr. America and Mr. World. So I think for him as an athlete, like winning and being number one really mattered. I think for me as an actor and an artist, like there's no best. There just isn't. I can't decide. I mean, there's performances I love, but you know what I mean? It's like people win and they don't win, and then some people who deserve it don't win, and then the people who win, you're like, mm. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But it's a taste thing. It's a personal thing of what affects you and what is meaningful to you and what touches you or what, So my father was so happy, and he was sick at the time. And so I won the Emmy, and then I got to go. He was very sick at the time, and I got to go and give it to him that night. Yes, and it was just 2 weeks before he passed. Wow. So that was really great for me. Wow. And listen, it's always nice to win awards. It feels really great, and you feel like it's such a affirmation that people are, picking up what you're putting down, right? That people are responding to what you're doing. And it did give me a sense of confidence. I mean, it is a sort of a dream or a goal for everyone, things we dream about. But I think I know so many brilliant actors that have never won one that I think are way more talented than I am. And really though, I know people that I'm like, I don't even know. It's so on another level that I feel I get my mind blown. That's what I love about my job. I get to work with so many talented people. But it is something. It is validating. Of course it is. It is the greatest feeling. And it is something exciting to have and hold. And by the way, I have two.
Wait, you have two? Oh, God.
I won best documentary.
Oh, that's right. For I Am Evidence, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Which 2017, you produced that, which amazing.
That was really exciting.
My apologies.
Yes.
I should have written,
yes.
Yes.
Anyway,
I Am
next
Evidence.
time. I have two. Just tweet it. Anyway.
That's the kind of thing that you absolutely correct somebody on. I'm glad that you did. I am glad that you did.
Oh, no.
That's
But it was,
amazing.
personally, it was really... It was amazing.
Yeah.
Both ways.
Yeah.
It's just a dream come true. You can't even believe it when it happens.
I bet.
You just can't.
Right.
Right. I was so happy.
I can't even imagine.
it's
And yes,
pretty
everybody
amazing.
should watch I Am Evidence, because what you've done with the backlogs of the rape testing kits, like it is so crucial.
It's on HBO.
HBO and Max, right?
Yeah.
You can
Oh,
stream it
Max
on,
now it's
yeah,
called.
stream it on Max. Okay, so really quick, because I know we have to wrap. I came up with.
I only have 2 more hours, guys.
Sorry, it's fine. I'll have breakfast in the morning at the Grow. It's great. Okay, my rapid fire acting questions for you.
Oh, rapid fire acting.
Rapid
Let's have
fire.
it.
So as fast as you can.
Oh,
Have you ever overslept a call time? And if so, what'd you do about it?
maybe. Yes, I have. I have to have. Yeah.
What'd you do?
Put my clothes on and jump in the car and say, I'm sorry. But I don't even know if I have. That's not really how I roll.
Overachiever. Okay. How do you memorize your lines?
By rote. It depends on the scene. Certain scenes I can read it once and I sort of know the flow if if it makes sense to me and I understand it emotionally and I've read the script a certain amount of time, so it's kind of in me. But if it's a chunk of information, random information, facts, that's very difficult. And I have to just do it by rote, and then I do it on tape recorder, or I just say it over and over and over and over and over, and I do it by rote, and then I do accents. Accents really help me. Wow. This is real talk, actually. Yeah. It goes in differently. I'll do it in, like Southern or Texas, English. I do Italian, French. I'll do it. And that's how I learn speeches too. I do it. It helps me so much because when I do accents, in different languages, different things, they emphasize different things.
Yeah.
So that's a trick that I've learned in the last 3 years. If
great
you
advice.
do it with accent, whatever you're good at, or not, doesn't matter, nobody will hear you, it goes in your brain a different way. I should actually write a book on that. It'll be a chapter.
What's your morning ritual before you go to set? Anything you have to have in order to get into character and have a good day on set?
No, it doesn't work like that. I have to get up so early. I get up, I jump out of bed, I jump in the shower, and I get in the car. I get ready in 15 minutes. I just do that. And then I get to work and I get into hair and makeup. So I have an hour, right?
Okay.
It takes an hour and I do my lines while I'm doing my hair and the same thing with my makeup. And I just learn my lines and I go through it. But I learn my lines on my way home as well. I do it there on the way home, on the weekends, between scenes. I mean, I have so many lines and it happens so quickly.
Right.
I'm very good at learning lines.
Well, now that Maloney is no longer on the show, you don't have to play drunk between scenes. You can
Right?
actually learn
I can
your
actually
lines.
learn my lines.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's the real reason.
But
that
we
he
run
left.
it. We run it. We also run it. Like I
Yeah.
go to the team, like, let's go. Before we shoot, we go back and we run it. We go, let's do quick. And I call it, we do a speed through. And we say it really, really fast because you have to make sure you really know it or you're going to suck.
How do you avoid burnout, especially when you're working as hard as you do 10 months out of the year?
Well, it just happens sometimes because you're so tired. But one of the reasons that SVU is so successful and so good is because everyone is so engaged. And I can't help myself. Like I used to joke that season 17, I was going to phone it in. You know what I'm saying? But I can't. Like I can't. I need to fix everything. And if somebody else isn't good, then I'll fix that. You know what I mean? I need to fix it. If the scene's not working, I can't take it if it's bad. I can't take it. So I just care so much about it. I love my show. I love it.
It shows.
I love it.
It shows.
But I'm not the only one. We're all like that.
Yeah.
We're all like that.
Yeah.
We're all like that.
Yeah.
We help each other. We're a team. It's amazing. Like, I love them deeply. Yeah, it's real. People, you know what I'm so proud of? Everyone on my show, when they leave or when they're there, they go like this. I swear to God, they say, "Is it always like this?" And I say, "Yeah, it's always like this. It's happy. It's a team. We get it done. We laugh. We're close. If it's not good, we're like, guys, this sucks. Let's fix it. What's the problem? Okay, bum. That's not working. Sorry, let's go again. I'm sorry, can I have another take? That was bad." Like, we do it until it's right. We don't move on until it's right. We don't. We won't.
Well, let me just say that all interviews are not like this. You are magic. Thank you
Oh, you're welcome.
for this. I mean, I hope
Thank you.
you all, yes, give her a standing ovation.
Just trying to keep it real.
This is your life, Mariska Hargitay.